All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Thanks for hanging out. Sorry for my lateness. The weather is absolutely miserable, and which made doing everything today just take a lot longer. So, but we're all here now. Yeah, it's actually very. It's it's kind of nuts. I actually have never in my life experienced. There's no sound. Are you sure about that? Anybody else experiencing no sound? Please let me know. Please let me know so I don't actually talk anymore. All right, 5x5. We do have sound, Andre, probably on your end. Yeah, I have actually never in my life experienced the amount of rain that we're getting for as long as we've been getting it. And then this has been happening for a few years in a row. So it's not just an anomaly of this year. It's a trend line that the weather is very, very different, and the weather extremes that we're experiencing are becoming more pronounced. You have sound? Good. All right, great. But it's amazing to me, the amount of rain we're getting. And I mean, it has just been raining nonstop, literally all night and all day, and just pouring, absolutely pouring down rain. And this isn't the first time this has happened this year. This is like the fourth or fifth time. So we've experienced this insane amount of downpour. This is like the fourth or fifth time this year. So this is way, way, way outside of the norm, way outside of the mean, very, very different. So, yeah, and it makes it just really hard to get anything done, which is also frustrating because I have a lot to do. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. It's Friday, so we're just kind of conversing today. I do have a lot of stories I want to cover, or try to, but, we're mostly talking about things today, so call in. The lines are open all day, or all through the rest of the show. Sorry, the show's not going to go any longer. I have something to do right after the show, so I apologize for my lateness, but this is all the time we got. I can't really extend the time because I have somewhere else to be. And I'll probably be late to that too because it's ridiculous. Outside, it is ridiculous. So, yes, obsolete optics. Climate engineers got to fix the drought somehow, I guess. Right? I don't know. Mark Plant says we have two paths. One we are currently on, proxy war with Russia, and then proxy war with China, which will end in a nuclear holocaust. And then the second path, addressing climate catastrophe. Guess which path we're not going to take? We are not going to address climate catastrophe. Actually, there's a very interesting post here. There's so many things to talk about. I don't even know where to start. Thanks, guys. Thanks for understanding. I appreciate it. It's just kind of a miserable day. If you're curled up next to a heater with a book under a blanket. It's a really great day. But I don't ever have those days. Those days are never my kind of days. My days are like I've got 13 things on my to-do list and I've got to do them all. Those are all my days, every single day. Okay, William, how you doing? What's up?
Hey, Kev, I thought I'd call in early this time. So,
Get on the curve. There you go.
If we get another call, perhaps you could put me on speaker. Maybe if John calls in, if we get him,
Right.
Joseph, or somebody, like last time we did this. First of all, in the live chat, have a look. I don't know if we could talk about Joseph Ladapo and what the numbers are. This just came out. It's in Zero Hedge. Do you want to wait? Are you going to go to Rockfin today?
I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, we're just going to see where the conversation leads us.
All right. This has to do with the prick. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you want me to keep quiet for now and you can look at that.
I mean, I think towards the end of the show would be a better choice.
All right. So can I talk about other things for now, or do you want me to hang up and call back later?
Whatever you want to do. If you want to wait for a few minutes, that'd be fine too.
Why don't I do that? You let me know. There's also other things. Well, real quick, I was trying to load up the chat with a couple of things. Have a look at the Chinese plans to build coal-fired plants. They got a big plan, according to COP27, to continue to build coal-fired plants.
Oh, they do. Yeah, I know they do. They do.
You know that.
Yeah.
In India, too.
Right.
So one thing I'll just finish with this comment, then I'm going to start putting things in live chat while you do your thing. And we can talk about it later. It's about a shifting global economy and geopolitics. They're shifting it all to Asia. That's all. So the U.S., our economy, down the toilet. We're going to lose a petrodollar soon. Which, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's growing over there because they're building more coal-fired plants. And then India just ordered how many new planes? I can't remember for international. Right.
All the Boeings.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. A lot more I want to talk about if you want regarding East Palestine. I did some digging. I got some more good stuff on that.
Okay, great. Well, what do you got on East Palestine? Why don't you give it to me now?
I always like to have the corroborating stuff in the live chat. I could talk about it and then put in the live chat if we're going to go that way. Times Beach, Missouri. One of the things they shut down that town for dioxin. When you burn, when you burn the I'm having a senior moment. When you burn the vinyl chloride, right? What are the gases? Right? You get dioxin. You get phosgene, which is a gas that was used during the war. You know that, and you get hydrochloric acid, right? Combining up in the atmosphere, whatever goes on up there, where you get an acid rain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know this part, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Times Beach, Missouri, they had this fellow who had a contract for 4 years. He was spraying the dirt roads and around horse stables and stuff with waste oil. Well, it turned out it was dioxin loaded. They had to shut that whole town down, just like the Love Canal. Remember the Love Canal?
Yes.
And they had to, bulldoze every building there, and then they had to dig out like millions of tons of soil, because that's what the work I did. You got to dig down, get all that contaminated soil out of there, then you got to chase it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then depending on what grade they want to reestablish, they got to backfill it. Do you follow me? And they created a park there. It's on Route 66. There's no more town.
Interesting.
Now, when you consider how many, I don't know we talked about the confusing how many rail cars were actually involved in this. I've read 5, I've read 10, I've read 12. I get varying reports of how many rail cars actually were then drained into that ditch that they use as a burn ditch. Remember that? Right.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Yeah.
We go back a step. Only one was leaking initially. 3 days they were there before they decided to drain those into the ditch.
Right.
Recall? So there was a 3-day lag from the derailment, from the time they lit that thing up, and on what was supposed to be a controlled burn. Right? Remember?
Yeah.
Well. Okay, we talked about that. In order to dig that ditch, you got to have an excavator in there, meaning they had men working. If it was so hazardous, they had guys working. Why? And I just want to jump quickly to the next point. Why didn't they get a dozer in there, cut a road, and back in the chemical tanker trucks we see on the highways for hazardous chemicals, and friggin' drain those other cars, because only one was leaking originally, into a road transport.
Yeah. I mean, I've
That
heard
could have been done. Now, keeping those other tanks cool, again, I was never on that particular kind of site, but they have chemical suppression and water suppression, depending on what you're dealing with, to help keep things cool. Do you follow me? So,
yeah. Well, I've heard it suggested that this was done because they knew fully the consequences of doing what they were going to do. And there's two items. One is that, well, they did this so that they could get the trains running as quickly as possible again. And then the other theory I've heard is that they did this on purpose because they knew how bad it was going to be. They knew how stupid it was. They knew everything about it, and they did it anyways. And that one, I don't know. I don't know why you would do that, because it doesn't even seem like the upshot of that would even make any sense, right? Like, let's poison the land, on purpose. For what? For what? For what is the point of that? I don't know.
Well,
but I'm wondering if somebody can explain it to me. I don't know.
All right, let's talk about a couple more things. Maybe we can work our way back to your point, your question there. Okay. First of all, the company that went in and did the testing for supposedly, remember you hear test, everything's clean, come on back, right? Remember that originally? Come on back, everything looks good. They tell the people to come on back. Right. That company, the Center for Toxicity, Environmental Health, CTEH.
Yes.
That company was used on the BP spill, Katrina, and was cited for mishandling damage collection.
Yeah.
Previously.
Interesting. Well, then why?
They use that company again. This company is. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Do you want to say something?
Well, so they're on the take, right? Or they're.
Well, yeah, they're there for big. Yeah, of course. It's the corrupt transnational corporations that run this government. You know how it works, really. Inverted totalitarianism, Democracy Inc. Right? Sheldon Wallen. Sure. You know about that, right? That's what's going on. They're on the take. This is how our system works. Well, I shouldn't say works. This is how it's rigged. I mean, it works for them.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's somebody is asking in the chat how much money and aid Norfolk is giving that community. And quickly, I just want to say, I heard, well, originally they were off. It was like everybody in the community was going to get something like $5, right? They were offered like $25,000. I think they've upped it to $1,000. For anybody who was inside of a certain evacuation zone, but that's still $1,000. Like, if you get some kind of terminal disease or debilitating disease, like $1,000 is not going to $1,000 isn't anything, right? It's not even a month's rent in a lot.
Well,
in most
you got
places.
A couple of things there. You got the immediate expenses. FEMA should have got in there, got those people out of there, put them in housing. Right?
And why hasn't FEMA? So FEMA. Here's an interesting thing. FEMA turned down the original request for aid, saying it didn't qualify. And I just read that they reversed that decision. I read that today. But it took them, how long has it been? And why would they deny it in the first place? So their first path was to say no. I mean, that sounds very much like a Trump administration thing to do, right? Like the idea that Trump's so fascist and the Biden administration is so good. I mean, you have FEMA denying disaster relief, relief aid request to East Palestine. Why? Why would they do that? I mean, that was their initial response. No, I don't think so. Buttigieg didn't even show up until today. No, we're not even gonna acknowledge this. I mean, so the point I'm trying to make is, the government is fully corrupted and fully owned by the companies that run everything, right? So we're not even really capable of even responding to anything until you get enough public pressure to go, hey, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, maybe we'll show up now, right? Long after the fact and long after the damage has been done.
Right, I got a couple more home runs or fastballs to throw on this one. Okay, you're absolutely right about that. The reason they didn't go there and they don't go rideability and they use this fraudulent testing company, they're not interested in reducing exposure for those people there and those animals. They're interested in reducing liability exposure for the companies.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
Right. So that's why I'll tell you why Buttigieg didn't show up, because the people who were there, who are anywhere around, by the way, there's a lot more to talk about regarding toxicity and around the rail tracks. I'll get to that. Those people are all in Tyvek with double can respirators. Those people anywhere around that spill are in personal protective equipment. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's toxic, right? They've got the phasogene, which disperses fairly quickly because with the wind. But if it gets into a building, it tends to settle. That's why they use it in the word. It settle into the trenches to kill soldiers, right? World War I.
Right.
Okay. Now they had a problem with that when the wind shifted. It blew back on the the Allied forces, but that was another matter. So that's the other thing we got to talk about regarding dioxin fallout and acid rain, depending on where that huge cloud is going to be going all over the country. We don't even know. It could go depending on the winds, the jet stream.
Right.
I don't know if it goes up that high into that, but you see what I mean. Depending on the winds. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about here regarding. I'm going through my notes, so if it's a little choppy, it's because I'm trying to remember everything and put it together. I made a lot of notes here. So, okay, so we covered Times Beach. That was Russell Bliss. 40 horses died at a horse stable. That was a tip-off. You see, just like in Flint, you had the kids getting rashes when the mothers were bathing them. You remember that what happened in Flint? The mothers were bathing them in the water and they were getting rashes. And so that was the doctors in the area looked into that was the first sign of lead poisoning. Right. So in this case, you had 40 horses get sick and die because this guy was not only doing it on the streets, the dirt streets in that town, but also around the stables. You see what I mean? So it was through the veterinarians that they got a tip off. Okay, so let's see. And then we continue down my
hey, William.
Yes.
Can I let you go for a moment and let's I want to go through a couple of stories here.
Oh, okay, sure.
And let's swing around back at the end of the show, towards the end of the show.
Okay, so like 10 minutes till or something.
Yeah.
You want me to call?
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, very good.
All right, thank you, William. He's bringing up all very good points. Anyways, so yeah, FEMA withheld assistance to East Palestine and then Palestine, whatever you want to say. Buttigieg did not show up. They didn't even address, meanwhile, there's billions of aid going to somewhere else where people don't live to do what we don't know. To do exactly what we don't know. Where all this aid is ending up, in the long run, we don't know. But this is this story is, if the urge to try to ignore it or cover it up or not deal with it has absolutely blown up massively in the face of the Biden administration, because I don't know how you live this one down. This might be as bad. You want to hear about the Ghouls? Kalmashwari, we'll get there. These are, I am talking about the Ghouls in general right now, but we'll go on more about the Ghouls. This is about as bad, if not worse, than the Dakota Access Pipeline thing that was happening towards the end of Obama's term, when he, this thing just got worse and worse and spiraled out of control and became a absolutely direct conflict between local police, the military, and people all over the country were heading to Dakota Access Pipeline. And it was and it took Obama administration like 3 months to actually go, oh yeah, this is probably bad. You know, I mean, they had to wait until it absolutely spiraled out of control, which is kind of what the Biden administration has been doing. Andre says there's no way to deal with this. The damage is done. Not, yeah, I mean, I don't know what you do now. I don't know what you do now. What I did here, I don't have it here, but what I did here is that they reversed this decision. And let me see. Here is Joy Behar saying the residents of East Palestine got what they deserve because they voted for Trump. Wow. I mean, the logic is a little pretzel-y to me. I mean, okay, but look at what the Biden administration is doing in the face of this, and I don't know. I don't know how you transfer the blame to Trump when, you know, all we've heard is nothing from the Biden administration on this. Let's listen to Joy Behar do a little pretzel logic. And Bread and Circus says, sorry, but you're the biggest effing idiot. If you think that cloud is only impacting people in Ohio, you're going to get cancer from your loft in New York because of this.
Regulations for a second, because it seems to me that the Republicans are obsessed with this notion of the free market, and they don't like a lot of regulations.
Because it means profit. When you deregulate, you get profit.
But I know.
Part of deregulation.
For example, there were very few plane crashes. Thank God. And that's because the industry is highly regulated. We have to pay for regulations and safety standards. Otherwise, where are we? We're all going to go up in flames.
Norfolk Southern gives as much to Democrats as Republicans. It's a very powerful lobby that is trying to block regulation. And
I don't know who this woman is, but thank you for being the voice of reason there, and for shutting Joy all the way down. Like, hey, they're actually a very powerful corporation that gives money to both sides, and both sides do what they want. But, you know, give it up for Joey Behar, you know, stoking the fire of division in this country, right? You know, making it us against them. Oh, the stupid Republicans. They're always stupid, and we're always smart. We always do the best of everything.
train, to Sarah's point, 2 miles long with 2 full-time employees and a trainee on it. And they didn't even wipe out an entire, because the last administration rolled it down to only one having worker. They happen to have 2. One thing I just want to say is I do think this was an unforced error by President.
Okay. I don't know where this is going to go, but the thing is that the Biden administration just crushed the railway worker strike, and one of the points that they were fighting for was increased safety. And Biden said, "Scram out of here. We got money to give to Ukraine." That's so. No, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. This is I mean, we know that the View is all about making, you know, trying to tell everybody what their view should be, not, you know, not having an open, honest discussion, but they're just trying to, you know, they are high on the list of, you know, propaganda, of the propaganda machine.
Biden. It was 20 days before we had Secretary Buttigieg go down, 10 days before he put out a statement acknowledging it. Yeah. This is Trump country. He won by 40 points. He is a president for all Americans. I believe that, but he needs to show that he is. It was time for him to be.
I don't know why they would ever vote.
Yeah. Anyways, we won't listen to any more of that. But at least, I don't know who that woman is, but at least she fought back a little bit and said, nah. I don't know if it's all that. And maybe people voted for Trump in Ohio because they've been let down by the Democratic Party, right? For whatever reason, the Republican Party and you know, Trump they've successfully rebranded themselves as people that listen to the, you know, the voice of average Americans, because the Democrats are so absolutely above it all, right? Above helping the worker, above listening to anybody that's that lives in between New York and LA. They're the party of now the successful. They're the party of, to use an outdated term, yuppies, right? The people who are urban professionals, people who are upwardly mobile, people who have gone to college, people who consider themselves smarter than the average bear, right? They think they've got it all figured out, and that's why they vote Democrat, and, but they don't understand that they're completely disconnected from, like, average people, right? And so if you just say the words, if you just mouth the words that people want to hear, they go, oh, yeah, sounds good to me. Let's see, what does Buttigieg have to say? Buttigieg, well, Sagar, Sagar is. Buttigieg is one of the largest failures in modern political history relative to what the establishment and press hold him up to be, just stunningly incompetent. To answer your question, Slava, which I saw in the chats, what does it have to do with Ukraine? It has to do with the fact that we sent, 100 billion with a B. That's a lot of money, dude. Of money and material, our country, and to what? To fight a war that we're not involved in, right? And yet our infrastructure is crumbling. American life is kind of going down the tubes for a lot of people. Inflation is going crazy. We have a lot of domestic problems here. We have a lot of problems here. We can't even really pony up, muster up much of a fight against, climate change, right? Saving the planet. I mean, look at this is a exactly obsolete. This is a fine example of how much this administration or any administration cares about protecting the environment, which is not at all, right? And we don't have the money for it. We don't have the money for it. Who's going to pay for it? We can't give people health care. Who's going to pay for it? We can't keep people, free or cheap college. Who's going to pay for it? We can't give the homeless homes. We can't give people anything. And we're cutting. I just heard that New York, is cutting social aid to people, right? They're cutting funds for, mental health. They're cutting funds for health care. Right? This is what we're doing in this country, and yet, a war that we're fighting a proxy war, but we're supposedly we're not fighting this war, but we want to help our friends out. So that seems to be super duper important. I don't know. Is the mic crackling, guys? Are we a crackling? Does it sound like a fire? Okay, great. Check. All right, should be back. Mark Plant says we are living in a giant Walmart. Okay. Anyways, what does Buttigieg have to say? What I tried to do was balance two things. He's saying, well, we didn't want to get in the way of the NTSB. We just didn't want to get in the way. We didn't want to comfort or show support for the people of East Palestine.
In retrospect, should you have come a little sooner? So again, in terms of the timing of the visit, I'm trying to strike the right balance, allowing NTSB to play its role, but making sure we're here in that show of support. In retrospect, should you have come a little sooner?
Okay.
So again, in terms of the timing of
I mean, it seems to be that the Biden administration is asleep at the wheel, the train wheel, apparently. Let's see. We have more on this. Or do we? I think that's about all I have on East Palestine right now. I mean, but there's so much going on. Of course, still going on. Let's see. I want to go back to this though, and Peter Dines has a really good point. He says there was a major panic in international politics when the hole in the ozone layer was realized, which hasn't disappeared, by the way, and climate change once again threatens. Right. So this idea that we fixed the hole in the ozone is not actually a real thing. We really haven't fixed the hole in the ozone. It's still there, and depending on the season, it gets pretty bad. Actually, in the southern hemisphere, it is very bad during the winter. The hole in the ozone layer over Antarctica and over places in the southern hemisphere it's a thing. It's a real thing. Like, you are not supposed to be out in direct sunlight like during the wintertime. Oh yes, I did think that all by myself. I thought it up all by myself. Slava. Yes. I just couldn't help myself. Sorry. Got dad jokes. What can I say? Also record low in CIs. But anyways, he goes on to say, so why isn't there the same response to the jet stream being fragmented or just completely kicked to pieces? Why isn't anybody concerned about this? Probably because they know that there's nothing. I don't know what the international response could be to this. And we've moved into a place where the powers that be understand the severity of the situation, but what they don't want to do is sound the alarm, right? They don't want people realizing like, oh, it's really bad. Right? Because we're at the end run of the civilization. We're at the, everybody's trying to get, we're just complete banana republic. Grab all you can on the way out the door. Things are about to fall apart, more than they've already fallen apart. So let's, everybody's in get everything you can mode, right? People are not into save the planet, tell the truth, and let's try and do a little better mode, or maybe we can actually turn the ship around, or maybe no, the people in charge are like, oh, we're totally screwed, and let's see, we want to just live it up, right before everything goes to shit. D-True says they won't believe it. They won't believe it anyways. Well, we've gone so far down the road in lying to people that, right, if we actually told people the truth, there's some people out there trying to tell people the truth, but, obviously the message has been corrupted. Anyways, he has a really great question. That is a really great question. Why aren't people concerned with what is going on? Oh, we're going to get to the ghouls part. I'm sorry. Sometimes I do this. Sometimes I have a show and I forget to talk about the thumbnail or the headline of the show or the title of the show. But I'm going to get there right after this. Right. Oh, we're going to talk about Ukraine, Slava. Actually, what we'll probably do is jump off of YouTube and talk about Ukraine a little bit for the last 10 minutes. Let's see. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Oh. So what we're experiencing right now in Southern California is a result of this. Caller, I see you. I'll take your call in just a moment. If you could give me a few minutes. From Colin McCarthy, mesmerizing satellite imagery of the frigid low dropping down the west coast, driving an incredibly potent and cold winter storm into California. Many areas across the state will see their biggest snowstorm in years, and Southern California could see one of the biggest winter storms on record. This is after, I mean, yeah, that thing is chugging away. And by the way, this is after one of the biggest snowfall and storms we've seen in years, right? That was just like a couple of weeks ago. And we had like 3 of those in a row. So, and here we go again. Oh, sorry, I didn't hopefully the caller was not upset that I didn't take their call right away. Just trying to get to one or two items before we get out of here. That looks like that atmospheric river, yes. Okay. Ghouls. Let's get to the ghouls. But this, YouTubers, I'm sorry. We're going to have to leave for the last 10 minutes because I'm going to talk about Ukraine. Denver Attaway says UV index in Atlanta yesterday was 6. Historical average for this time of year is 3. I wonder why spring started already. Right. Oh, no. On the UV front, UV is out of control. It's off the charts, like almost every single day. If you pay attention to that kind of thing, and people on this channel do, but if you are paying attention over a period of time, you will notice that the UV is way higher than it's supposed to be, kind of all the time. And if you understand how absolutely, oh, Slava, you're a really good guy. But I can see how tough you are by your chat bullying. You're just a tough guy. Anyways. Yeah, I don't really want to talk about Ukraine too much on YouTube because they are censorious. But anyways, let me talk a little bit more freely. All right, YouTubers, see you later.